Are you looking for something affordable and cheerful to drive you through the urban jungle and not having to care too much for its existence? No, I'm not talking about a bus. I am talking about something you can actually own. And nothing fits the bill better than Dacia Spring. The simple fact that it's such a hit all over Europe easily explains that people indeed need such cars. Cars for which small size is a virtue, not a handicap. And crowded cities is where the Spring feels at home. But as good as it seems to be, it's not perfect. Dacia still builds the Spring like on the early days of the electric vehicle. It's based on an outdated architecture, which brings together things like a mechanical ignition switch, a manual handbrake, and a transmission which has no park mode. Oh, and the brake is capable to recuperate only part of the brake energy. And that's something you don't see every day. And not because it's out of fashion. Electric cars are a bit different, even if they look much the same as the rest. I'm not saying Dacia is doing things completely wrong. They are looking to keep costs down. But some bits of this old architecture, combined with the electric powertrain and the human factor, makes it a bit easier to get in trouble. I certainly did, as this crack in the front bumper proves it. But this was especially true for the old car. How does it now work in the new one?
I'm glad to see Dacia made significant improvements. First of all, you get this new drive selector, which goes by default to neutral when you turn the ignition off. That's very nice. Unfortunately, it doesn't do the same when the car is active and you open the door. You see, that's a problem because electric cars have no engine sound, and it's easy for you to forget in which state the car is in when tempted to exit out of it in a rush, especially when you lack clear warning messages like on the old car. But this is where the new car shines again. You get a new driver display, which is much better in every way than the old one. It's bigger, nicer layout, and comes with clear warning messages that makes it harder for you to get into that kind of situation I mentioned before. You see, it's now hard to ignore this kind of message.
Alongside the new drive selector, you'll notice a new drive mode, called P, which I guess comes from brake. It's similar to drive, with the exception that you get more brake when releasing the acceleration pedal, although not much, and it will definitely not bring the car to a full stop, so don't confuse it to one pedal drive. And about the brake system, I mentioned in the beginning, it's not that capable at recuperating. Well, it's true, but only when you brake from high speeds. Drive it slow at normal city speeds, which I guess you will do anyway most of the times, and it will recuperate close to 100%. So nothing to worry about. Also, unlike the old car, brake effort is now consistent, meaning you can rely on the brake pedal every time you press it. Even if not by much, the new car is a step up in every single aspect compared to the last one. Take the driving experience, for example.
The steering is very light, and it's the same as with the old car, but this one is much better in the way that it self-centers, thus preventing you to point the car in the wrong direction at the end of a turn. Like you see right now, it's much better. I like it.
The powertrain gets no significant upgrade from what I can tell, except that wheel slip is a bit better controlled when taking turns.
The inner wheel displays no drama or nervous behavior when you take a tight corner. It's very well maintained.
As for the suspension, you'll be glad to hear that it stays the same, on the soft and comfortable side, with the exception that now the car rides on 15-inch wheels, which make it a little bit more confident when taking corners. Just don't expect anything out of the ordinary.
The climate control gets a new face, and I'm not talking about only the black shiny black illuminated panel, which looks cool. I'm talking about a different upgrade. So it's still manual, but there's no physical connection or mechanical connection between the controls and everything which happens behind. And that's important, because say you want to preheat the car next morning. With the old one, you had to make sure you leave at least the fan on. But with this one, you don't care about that. You just go on the app and it should start.
On the safety side, you now get emergency braking, which, in addition to vehicles, it now detects pedestrians and cyclists. And you can tell that by the new front-facing windscreen-mounted camera. On top of that, you get stuff which nowadays is already becoming standard, and a bit annoying if you ask me. I'm not saying it's all bad, but they shout too much, instead of just watching and stepping in when you need them the most.
And this is where Dacia shines again. As far as I know, they're the only ones giving us a button, press it twice, and bam! All gone. All the screaming and shouting gone. Imagine that, with just one button. How difficult is it for the rest of the world to give us something like that? You know, they should take lessons from Dacia. Well done, Dacia. Well done.
I am not sure it will get higher Euro NCAP rating over the previous generation. Dacia decided not to retest it. But even if the previous generation got only 1 star, that number doesn't mean the car is completely unsafe. Crash protection, it's still up to class standard. If there is one thing I could point on the new car, which in my opinion was done better on the old one, is the way the rear end looks. It seems like they finished it in a hurry. It ends up abruptly, and because of that, the car feels a bit smaller if you ask me. As for the rest, everything looks fine to me, except one thing. Do you remember in part 1 of this review how I mentioned in the beginning the old Dacia makes me sometimes feel like an idiot? Well, I'm wondering if the new car does the same. So grab your popcorn and lay back. This is going to be interesting.
The old Dacia gives you 2 keys, out of which only one has remote controls. And because I share the car with my wife, she takes this one and I'm left with the other one. And then I take the car, drive it to different places, and when I go to lock it, can you guess what I need to do to make that happen with this key?
Well, the short answer is you simply cannot lock the car completely. You see, with every previous car I've owned so far, I only had to lock the driver door with the key. But this one, even if it has center locking, it doesn't work that way. It only locks the driver door. And for the rest, you need to go around the car and manually lock each one in turn, including the passenger door, again with a key. And at the end of the whole circus act, when you go around the back, surprise, you cannot lock the trunk.
Yeah, imagine doing that in tight parking places with your hands full of stuff and under the watch of everybody else wondering if you've gone mad. Thanks a lot, Dacia.
On the new car, you might think they fixed it, right? Well, it gets even better. The situation is the same as before. You need to manually lock the doors around the car. So you go to the back doors, push the pins, and lock them. And when you reach the front passenger door, you're in for a surprise. There's no hub to insert the key and lock it. How do you lock this door?
I have no idea.
Man, that's crazy.
It seems like Dacia is so eager to cut down costs, they left us with no way to lock the car unless having the remote control key. On the bright side, however, the new Spring finally gives us both the keys with remote controls. And that is not the only thing they give us. I know of no other car in this price range that has vehicle to load on its options list. You can get it only on the top range extreme version, but what is it and why should you care? Well, it basically turns your car into an AC power outlet which can supply electric energy to any kind of appliance or power tool, or even a small hut or a house for that matter, up to max 3.6 kilowatts hour. Yeah, maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but to some of us, nothing is better than having a hot meal on those cold morning days while out fishing. Anyway, leaving this aside, there's one crazy idea I wanted to test when I bought my old Spring, and this is something I never thought possible until it came up on the market. You see, with every other car I've owned so far, the longer I ran it, the more money it drained me. But with the Spring, the longer I keep it, the more money it saves me. Think about it. I charge it for free, while at the same time, at least that's what I hope, I spend nothing on it, except wearables, Crazy, isn't it? According to my beginner math, I need to put 80,000 kilometers on the clock without any major events. By the current pace, however, that will take me 8 long years to accomplish. And the question is, can I live with it for that long? I can already consider the new one. Both are great value for money. However, the new one, even if similar on the surface to the previous, it goes beyond cosmetics and the latest technology. It's simply a more user-friendly and a better long-term partner.